We get our second question here in verse 33. Are you the king of the Jews? Though the different gospel accounts give us different parts of what happens in these final hours of Jesus' life, all four of them agree and record this question from Pilate. Are you the king of the Jews? It would seem that this is the language and the charge that the Sanhedrin has brought to Pilate to get Jesus arrested in the first place. This question is actually at the crux of why the Sanhedrin want Jesus eliminated. He was a theological threat to them. He claimed to be the Messiah. And as we've already looked at this morning, the Jewish expectation was that the Messiah was going to be the promised king of Israel. Nathanael even called Jesus that in John 1 when he meets him. Jesus claimed to be the Messiah, thus was claiming to be the king of the Jews. But this theological concern for the Sanhedrin won't matter at all to Pilate. These leaders need Pilate to see Jesus as a threat to him and to Rome. So instead of charging him as the Messiah, they use language that would arouse suspicion. Jesus claimed to be a king. And so we get to verse 34, and Jesus answers the question with a question of his own. So we're going to call this question 2a. Do you say this of your own accord, or did others say it to you about me? Now, Jesus is not trying to get out of the situation. As Daniel preached on last week, he is resolute. He is devoted to getting to the cross, to see the Father's will through to the end, to the cross, to the grave, and to his resurrection. Jesus is asking Pilate here, do you really want to know who I am, or are you just regurgitating what you've heard? It's the John pattern that we have seen over and over again. Jesus says or does something, it's confused or misunderstood. He's questioned about it, probed about it, and then he speaks to the reality and deeper meaning underneath what he actually said or did. What do you actually want to know, Pilate? He's giving him the chance to know and be known by the Son of God. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. Pilate, you have a chance to be saved if you're actually asking the real question. Jesus is doing here for Pilate what he did for Andrew and John in the beginning in John 1 when they followed him, and he asked them, what are you seeking? What do you want? What are you looking for? Or when Nicodemus the Pharisee came to Jesus at night in John 3, and he begins questioning Jesus, and Jesus invites him to be born again. When he asked the woman at the well, can I have a drink? So that they could have a dialogue, so he could tell her who he actually was. When he meets the paralytic at the pool, do you want to be healed? The crowds that followed him after he fed the 5,000 on the hillside, when they wanted him to feed them again, and he tells them, I'm the bread of life, and I can satiate your spiritual hunger if you would believe. Over and again throughout this journey to the cross, Jesus has been inviting people to follow, calling them to believe that he is the answer to their questions. He is the answer to their longing, their heartbreak and pain. The thing that they have been searching for, whether they can admit it or not, is relationship with him. These sinners and rebels, the lost and the helpless, even the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin, and Roman officials, he has shown himself to over and again in an effort that they would come to know and believe he is the Messiah. And now, even still, again, he's reaching out to Pilate. This arrogant, in-over-his-head politician bully, Jesus is offering an opportunity to know him. We get Pilate's answer in question 2b. Am I a Jew? I don't care who you think you are. I don't care what you think you have done or can do for me. What do I need you for? I have me. I have Rome. I have power. I have money. All I care about is how this affects me. And whether or not you think you are some kind of savior makes no difference to me at all, Jesus. Pilate doesn't care that Jesus claimed to be the Messiah or even him claiming to be God. The Romans have all kinds of gods. They have nameless, faceless gods. It makes no difference to Pilate. The second question and its follow-ups reveal an indifferent and hard heart that will always make it impossible to ever truly know Jesus. When we reach that point, when Jesus just becomes another voice in the noise, we miss out on the very life that he came to give us. Pilate had truth standing right in front of him. He had the Son of God speaking directly to him, and he walked away unchanged, unmoved, unconvinced. Because he wasn't seeking truth. He was concerned with himself. And that same danger faces all of us, not just rebellion and acts of defiance, but indifference. Being too busy, too proud, too self-reliant to even bring our lives to Christ in prayer, to include him in the decisions and the worries and the hard and the good things of life. Pilate shows us that unless we approach Jesus with humility and a willingness to be led, we will never truly see him for who he is.